perfect intro to the segment.
Ooh,
It's so good.
It is awesome.
It's so
the
good.
Liberty Fight song.
It's so
How to
good.
play that.
Hey, get Ellie in here.
We
We
gotta get-
love Ramses. We need Ellie the elephant.
Both of
They're
them.
here
both
now.
of them.
Supposedly they're friends.
They're friends
Did you guys
now.
see that?
Yeah, I
You see-
did.
You saw all those pictures?
Let's get her to.
Yeah. I
They're
love
friends?
them together.
Why?
Yeah.
They're
Why?
besties.
They're friends.
Didn't know that. I didn't know
Let's
Ellie
get
had
her
the
to Rose
elephant
Hill.
head.
Ramses was invited to her birthday and
I
everything.
know.
Oh my
It was
God.
I didn't know-
wonderful. I loved seeing that.
I didn't know
Yeah.
Ellie had a birthday either, so I saw
What
that.
do you mean?
Of course.
I'm-
Of course she has a birthday,
Of course
Kurt.
she's a birthday.
I forgot. I didn't
She's an
realize.
elephant.
I know.
Ellie's the elephant. Like, of
Ellie's
course.
arguably probably the best mascot in sports.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Other
Best
than the
mascot
other
ever,
than the
maybe.
Suns gorilla. I really
That's
like the
pretty
Sun.
good.
I
That's
really
pretty
like
good.
the Suns gorilla and the
But-
Pelicans baby. Y'all know the Pelicans baby? Pelicans baby's really funny.
That's pretty good. But then, dude, those
I love
mascots
Ellie.
dance like Ellie does.
Ellie
Ellie
Suns-
gets
Ramses,
the Suns
Ellie
gorilla-
get down.
Yeah,
The
Ellie
Suns-
knows how
The
to
two
party.
of them,
The Sun-
that made sense for them to be friends because they're so similar.
See,
So
I'll tell you. I'll tell you this. They can't dance.
Are you showing us the baby? Oh my god. That's terrifying.
Suns baby, the Pelicans baby.
No. No.
my
no,
That's
no.
my
scary.
the
What?
the Suns gorilla dunks.
That's pretty good.
The Suns gorilla
I
dunks.
mean-
Suns gorilla is
But
pretty
that
cool.
that makes sense for that.
Lucky the
league, though.
Leprechaun also dunks.
Who
It's
cares?
because it's literally
Preach,
just an
Joe,
Irish guy.
who
Like,
preach.
he
cares?
could
Who
do-
cares? Who Joe?
Let-
Who cares?
Yeah.
Can we get
We're
back
talking
to the
about
Some
WNBA.
dead air.
Can we get
right
back to
now,
the WNBA? No one
actually.
cares about Lucky the Leprechaun.
Sorry.
I do.
Get out. Get out of.
See,
Get out
We're
of
sorry,
the.
talking about
little
the
louder
W
next
right
time.
now.
Get out of the studio. We only have respect for one mascot here, and it's Ellie the elephant, and also the Suns gorilla, because I really
And
like the
also
Suns gorilla.
Ramses. Can we
And
throw
Ramses.
Ramses?
Forgot about
in there,
Ramses.
too?
We can take Ramses.
Ramses
Please.
is wonderful.
We love
Ramses is
Ramses.
wonderful.
We love
All right.
Ramses.
But yeah, all right, we're back.
But yeah.
On that, that's a little bit of a tough transition there, but I wanted to let's get into a little bit more of these other teams in the W. We talked about the Liberty a lot, and they'll come back up again, I'm sure. It's hard to stay away from them, but I want to revisit a conversation about the Indiana Fever. This is a team that has made a lot of headlines recently, and I think they deserve a lot of it, but it also, personally, it's getting a little much for me.
I agree with you. I think that a lot of what we see from the media about the WNBA is always just what goes on when it comes to
The
Fever.
Caitlin
teams like the
Clark.
Fever, the Sky.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think that it becomes a little bit awkward because there are so many new fans of the WNBA.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're gonna talk about the Valkyrie, and I want to
Yeah.
dive into some statistics with that because they're really
Yeah.
cool.
They're so cool.
But you can't make new fans be kind of like killing each other over this stuff because there's room for everybody.
There
I
is.
think that's one of the big deals. There's room for everybody in this league. To say that there's not is ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, it's professional sports, so competition rules. The media is going to have their sound bites and quotes.
Of course.
But all we're chasing is Caitlin Clark gets pushed.
Yeah.
We're chasing W fight,
Yeah.
which is like for the NBA. If that happens, it's a
Just
post on
another
sport.
day.
It's the post on
Yeah.
Sports Center, and that's it.
Yeah.
For the WNBA,
Not even a post on Sports
No.
Center.
sometimes
I mean,
barely.
Sometimes,
If
yeah.
it's a big one, but we're talking about like fights that
Yeah,
are just
they-
people
they shoved each
arguing,
other.
or you get one shove, one foul, or not even a foul.
I don't
and-
even
and
think
then
Off
they
of
did
good
get.
basketball.
I don't even think
good
they did get
basketball play.
fouled.
No, on the big one with the Sun and the Fever,
Yeah.
the one that went crazy viral,
Yeah.
that was neither of them got fouled
Yeah,
until Sophie Cunningham was the only one that got fouled.
but my point is just that we've treated a lot of what goes on is people treating women's basketball like it's some kind of family friendly sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is
yes.
I've been on
It's
this hill
such a
for a while.
mistake.
It's just that people think that it's because they're women. It's like women's basketball is not the same thing,
right,
but they're
but it's
they are
the
fierce
same
competitors.
thing.
They're fierce
Yeah.
competitors They want to win at any means necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And if that means a hard foul, it means
That's
a hard
what it
foul.
is.
That's all it
That's
is.
what it is.
Being pushed on a foul is not like a big deal. It happens in the NBA
Yeah.
all the time. It happens in college hoops all the time. Because Caitlin Clark slapped in front of it, and I do not want to make this into a
No.
Caitlin Clark is a bad for the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's an enemy.
No.
It's just ridiculous that you have to keep on keeping on with this stuff because it doesn't
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sense to me. Just none of it makes sense.
None of it makes sense,
No.
and I think it's the opposite of that. Clark is great for the W.
Yep.
She's increased viewership so much. She's a great player. It's like she's a good basketball player, and the W needs players like that. But the attention, the type of media that they're putting out about her is not what the W needs.
And I think it's
Yeah.
very
It needs to be focused
it's
on
very
that these are
anti-
good basketball players.
it's very anti what probably even Caitlin Clark wants to be covered
Oh,
on.
Yeah.
it is. I mean,
It's
she's spoken
basically
about it.
all just people bullying Caitlin Clark and them getting.
She's never
you know,
allowed to be just a
she's
basketball player.
Exactly.
No.
It's
What-
like she's this little doll that everyone wants to hold and never let anybody touch her.
Well, and she's been given so much responsibility
Yes.
for this
And so people are
increase
keeping
of
her
course.
as this
W,
very
and that's just too much
fragile
pressure for one
idea.
person to have.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird back in
Oh,
the
yeah,
WNBA
yeah,
the
yeah.
NBA days, back when the NBA was failing. I mean, these
Yeah,
guys
the
are
Angel
these
Reese.
guys have the big eyes on them because they are the big stars.
Yeah.
Sabrina Ionescu competed in the All-Star competition 3-point contest with Stephen
Yeah.
Curry.
Yep.
They have the eyes on them.
Yep.
They know the eyes and the pressure. The expectation that Caitlin Clark is going to be some the expectation of Caitlin Clark is different because a lot of it is just I watch the WNBA to watch Caitlin Clark, and
Yeah.
you know what? That's fine. But people are staying because they're realizing how much good hoops there
Mhm.
are.
Yes.
There's reasons why teams like the Valkyrie are selling out
Mm-hmm.
full season memberships. There are reasons
In
why
their first
the-
year.
the Liberty
Yeah.
are selling out their stadium every night they
Every
play
year.
home at Barclays Center.
Yeah.
I don't see an empty seat.
No.
There's reasons for this, and it's because Caitlin Clark brought eyes to the WNBA.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's undeniable. That's true. But people came to see Caitlin Clark and stayed for Kelsey Plum. They stayed for Sabrina Ionescu. They stayed for everybody that they know how good they are and
Mhm.
what the
Paige Beckers.
Paige
you
Beckers.
see her now on the wings. Next year, you're going to see Juju Watkins. Like,
exactly
talking about the draft class, when we were talking about the NBA draft class, it was also making me think about the W draft class because you saw, at least 5 players who stayed in college for
College,
NIL.
yep.
But so there's so many, all those players are household names as well. So you're going to see them come to the W and make it even better and get on teams who will then make more runs like the Valkyries. And, the Wings aren't having a great season this year, but it's what happened to the Fever last year. They had Clark, and now they're 8-8 this year, which is
Playoff spot.
awesome.
playoff spot.
But it's pretty good, and they've had big wins. They've had big wins over the Liberty, and so I think you're just going to keep seeing the league progress like that, which is really fun. And
Awesome. I just hope there's a change in the media coverage of all of it.
Never will happen.
It
I
will
was
not
gonna say,
happen. I just
It's
I wish it
headlines
would.
and clicks.
I wish
Yep.
it were more about the actual basketball the way it is with
If you
the
want.
NBA.
If you want to hear about actual basketball, our very own Lou Orlando now writes for Sports Illustrated
Yes.
for the W coverage.
Yeah.
And the
Plug.
goose.
And Nick Guzman. I almost forgot about Nick. I've been reading a lot of their stuff to actually even prep for tonight.
Absolutely.
They talk real good basketball in Sports Illustrated, just to
Yeah.
shout them out really quick because we're
Yep.
talking about the W and their coverage.
Plug them. But, hey, I like to think that our coverage is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think following Gabby Price and Kurt Sippel on Twitter
I think it's
is a
good
pretty
move.
good idea if you
Yeah.
want to have W coverage, just because
Absolutely.
of how good our W coverage has been. I don't want to
I mean,
I
I'm
want to
not
pat
biased,
ourselves on
but
our back, but I think we're pretty good at it.
yeah,
I think we're doing
we
pretty
do
good
a
stuff.
job. I
think
think
we're doing
we're
pretty good stuff.
changing. I think we're changing the media narrative in W.
One
And
one Twitter post at a
Guys,
time.
One
they're
Gabby.
post at a
giving the
time.
right media coverage to the W. If you're gonna
Yeah,
follow
yeah.
anybody, you should be following these two, shouting them
Give
out.
the right people
Sweet
power.
move with
okay?
5 views.
Exactly. Exactly. But to even get more into it, if we want to talk about the Valkyries,
Let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah, I want to talk.
you
about
want to
the
break down the Valkyries. I know
Yeah.
that. Oh, you want me to
Take
go?
us away.
Oh.
Yeah,
You want me
yeah.
to go first? I was like, oh, okay.
Nope.
The Valkyries, I just wanted to say something that was really cool. they've sold out season ticket memberships.
Yep.
And only 7% of each season, all of their season tickets are Warriors turnovers. So they're not Warriors fans that are going to, well, maybe they are, but
Just a
they're
little.
not Warriors fans that are going to like buy these season tickets that are this. They average full attendance the entire time that they play. They have really exciting players. Kayla Thornton has been really good for them. Tiffany Hayes, really good. Veronica Burton, people like that have made the Valkyries so
Kate
exciting.
Martin.
Made the Valkyries so exciting. They take teams like the Liberty all the way to the edge every time. But what I wanted to just touch on, and I know probably Gabby does too, is just how magical it feels that they have figured out a way to build a team out of nothing.
Yeah.
They built a team out of
a
scraps.
name.
Nothing.
And
Yep.
you know what they also did? That's the same thing that the Vegas Golden Knights did back in the NHL. Maybe they took a play out of their book. But that's exactly what they did.
Yep.
They figured out how to build a successful basketball team without having to draft anybody or have history or a roster.
Yeah.
They're 8-8. They make the
Yeah.
playoffs in their first season as a WNBA team.
Huge.
That's
Yeah.
just all around impressive.
So impressive.
Impressive. Feels nearly impossible.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to suck.
I
Yeah.
thought they were going to be that bad,
I
too.
thought they
Well,
were gonna be
everyone was
bad.
so surprised and confused with the way they went about drafting their team and getting players. And, they kind of removed a lot of players that people were upset about. But it's turned out to work out really, really well for them.
And-
They've got some new players in Kate Martin and Caitlin Chen. They
I was gonna
both
say
had
they took
11 and
Caitlin
10.
Chen back.
They took Caitlin Chen back, and it's working out for them.
Yeah.
She
Which
had,
that was surprising that they
Yeah.
dropped her initially
I know.
anyway.
well, they dropped a few people that
Yeah.
everyone was like, wait, what's going on here? But they made some good decisions because this team is doing great
They're doing great.
for such a new team,
for a brand new team,
Yeah.
like you just said, Kurt, it's really impressive, and it's being 8 and 7, whatever it is.
8 and 7.
The losses that they've had are also not bad losses.
When they
No.
lost to the Liberty, they really shouldn't have lost to the Liberty. You had
at the
Martin-
most
it was
recent
such
one.
a
Martin
close
had her
game.
had 21 points, her career high. She was 3 for 3 from 3.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and
And-
only
and-
missed her shots when it mattered. but-
Mhm.
You have the Liberty, who are really good.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, who do well at the end.
But I think just entirely, look at their losses. Los Angeles is a bad loss. I think getting blown out by LA is a really bad loss, just
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
LA is
they're
kind
not
of
good.
mid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
LA is
yeah,
mid.
no, they're not very good.
And I really like Plum. I think Plum.
She's one of the best in the W.
We were talking
Yeah.
about that earlier in the year, Gabby. Pretty
Mhm.
much like a season recap.
Yep.
About it, that Plum was going to be the leader of this team. In my opinion, that's just how I feel about it. Is Plum is just the number one option because they don't have all of their people back yet,
Yeah.
and Plum did that for a little bit, but then couldn't figure it out after.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 losses to New York, 2 losses to Minnesota and Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
and you have another loss from Dallas, which is not a good loss,
The loss to Dallas was the only thing that I was like, damn, they should have won that
and
game.
another loss to the Liberty. So I think
Yeah.
wholeheartedly how I feel about this, moral victory against the Liberty. That's not a W in the stat sheet, but it's a moral victory because I think that it
Yes.
is.
Mhm.
Yes.
You have a loss to Los Angeles, which is bad. That's a deserved loss.
Yeah.
You cannot have that
Yeah.
first team playing together for at once. I understand it.
Yep.
Minnesota, no one loses to Minnesota. It
Yeah,
seems like
they were-
Minnesota doesn't lose to anybody.
But they beat the Storm, who have been really good this season as
Like
well.
the Storm too.
That's true.
That's their wins
I wanna
have
see how
their
they
wins
perform.
and some of their losses have been impressive.
I want to see how they perform against the Dream.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
That's
That I want to see how they
not
perform
crazy.
against
That
the Dream.
Makes sense
No,
to me.
I don't think that's crazy.
I feel like Atlanta is a really good benchmark team. I don't
Yeah.
think
They
they're
are.
very. I don't think Atlanta will
good
make a.
this year.
I don't think
They're
Atlanta
good
will
this
make a
year.
far run.
No.
Maybe they will. I might be wrong.
But
I think that they.
playoffs.
No,
maybe,
but they're definitely
but
playoff sound.
playoffs. I mean, last year
Yes,
they didn't
yes.
make it.
No,
They
they're
were
making the
near
playoffs.
but didn't. And this year I see them making it.
You don't just add the people that they added for no reason.
Yeah, true.
No.
But I'm trying to figure out who else I can think of.
But
that
they're
would give
playing the
them
Storm
competition.
again tomorrow. That'll be a good game.
That should be a W.
I was gonna say I think they're getting
Hopefully.
better
They are getting better.
as the season gets further.
Yeah.
Storm are 10-6. What have I been missing?
the
They're
storm.
good.
The storm could be a sneaky pick.
They are.
I don't
They're
even remember.
good.
I forget about the Storm.
The
That's why
Storm
they're
has been
sneaky.
doing
They're-
really
They are
well,
they are
actually.
very under the radar, the Storm.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the Liberty.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, they lost to the Fever, but that was kind of a rough game in general. They beat the Lynx. They beat the best team in the W. They beat the Mercury. I mean, the Storm are the kind of team for me where they're good. They're not, number one, number two. They're really good, but they're beating the top teams in the league.
Yeah.
That's a contender for me.
They did just lose to the Connecticut Sun, which,
See, that's like-
listen,
What's going on?
I'm a Connecticut native myself. I
Yeah.
do have a soft spot in my heart for the Sun.
Stop capping.
But they're awful.
So bad.
But
So
they're
bad.
awful. And
I mean, 2
Just
and 14 is rough.
Yeah.
That's
but
rough.
then they
That's
beat
rough.
them. So
Yeah, I
Listen.
mean,
they come back.
yeah, the
yeah,
Storm are
they-
sneaky. That's a good way to describe them.
I don't see
They
them
are.
winning anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're gonna
Well, when
win
you
the finals, but
Yeah.
they might get far in playoffs. It's possible.
Could they get far?
I don't know.
Let me
Who
think
would their
about
opponents
that.
be? Let's think about that first.
Oh,
Because I think then if you're talking about like the Dream or the
They're not
Lynx,
beating the Dream.
Lynx, the
They're
Lynx.
not beating
like,
the Dream.
The Lynx is a
Really?
good team. Like
They're
I
not
don't think
beating the
they're
Dream.
not beating the Lynx.
well,
Why
no,
would
they're
they
not
beat-
beating the Lynx.
Why would they beat the Dream?
I don't know. I think it's possible. I think those are teams that are more like even contenders. Than
I feel like the Dream, the way that they
you know?
rebound and the way that they can shoot threes. When I was at the Liberty game, the Lynx added up for, they've shot, I think, 110 threes over the last 3 games or something like that. They didn't hit all of them, but they shot like a crazy amount of threes for this year. That's impressive. That doesn't really happen for WNBA teams. They even played a very NBA system, I would say, when it comes to their offense, where it becomes try to chuck up as many threes as possible,
Yeah.
hit as many threes as possible. But when you go in contact with a team like the Liberty fully healthy,
Mm-hmm.
or even, I'll even give you like Minnesota, guys like Philadelphia, Phoenix, their defense is so good that they can't get those threes up. That's what the Liberty lacked when they played them the last time. And that's why I don't think that they would be able to compete against a team like Atlanta, because Atlanta would just shoot over them. And I don't think that the Storm have the amount of defense to win against them. Look at the teams that the Storm have lost against already. They lost against Atlanta. They lost against Phoenix. They lost against Golden State. And they lost against Minnesota. Minnesota's an expected loss. We know that. They lost against Indiana, too. Another team that might also be a team that shoots a lot of they do shoot a lot of threes, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
But they also beat half of the teams you're talking about as well.
They
Those
did.
were like, both
They
teams,
did.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
They're
That would be
Again,
actually,
those-
I'm actually seeing
think
I'm
that's
seeing your vision.
the Storm is
I'm
a
seeing the
sneaky
vision.
team.
I'm seeing
They're
the vision.
Sneaky.
Never mind, I'm wrong. I see the
I mean,
vision.
they
I think
beat
that would be
both-
fun.
They beat both the Liberty and the
It's
Lynx.
rare that I get
That's-
off my pedestal,
Yeah.
but I'm seeing the
They're-
vision.
They're
Wow.
kind of an up in the air for me, as well as the Dream. I think those two are the kind of teams that are like on the same level. Obviously, right now they have the same record, but on like another level, they seem like teams that would be fun to watch play together in playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're teams that post All-Star break I think the All-Star break could make or shape
Make or
how
break them, yeah.
the rest of their season
Man,
looks,
I forgot we have
which
the All-Star break too.
is
We could talk about
coming
quick.
up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Voting actually ends today, which are you guys familiar with how the WNBA All-Star voting works?
Not really.
It's
I'm not super
very
sure.
interesting. Let me inform you. So, the fans vote. Those count for 50%.
Mm-hmm.
The players' choice count for 25%, and the sports media count for 25%.
Do we get a vote?
So,
we sports media?
see,
Oh.
I
I
voted
don't
as a
think-
fan,
I don't think we get a vote.
and I've kind of been voting.
Do we get a vote? You think
Should
we
I
get a
have
vote?
said that live on air?
That's-
No, it doesn't matter.
Moving on.
Joe, do you think we should get a vote?
Me?
No, just the Liberty.
Should
Yeah.
Joe,
Joe, have
Henry
you-
get a
Joe,
vote?
You don't
Joe,
want me to have a vote.
you know,
Joe Henry should decide.
do you think?
these
Do you think
teams.
we should get a vote, Bobby?
I just picked Megan McConnell.
That's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
How does Bobby feel back there? You think me and
Alright.
me and Gabby should have a vote? We are the sports media.
I mean,
Let me ask Bobby right now. Bobby, should we get a vote as media for WNBA All-Star? I'm getting a nod. That's
I
a
think-
big nod.
He's giving a smile and a nod. I think
Listen,
WNBA, hit us up.
put us in
Put
touch.
Put us at the WNBA All-Star Game. We will do a one-on-one live from the All-Star Game.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
Ooh.
Hey,
Let us do it.
let us do it.
Let us
Who's
in.
stopping us?
No one.
I love that
Only
the
ourselves.
players' opinions are included in that. That's awesome.
I know, right? It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But that will just about do it for our WNBA segment. Glad we got to chop it up a little bit. We don't normally do this much W, so this was.
It's always great.
Um,
It's always great to talk W.
It's always a great segment. And another little exciting thing that we'll switch to now, we have the latest from Bobby C from Indian 60. So you will get this during this break, and we'll be back in a minute to talk some baseball.